What if the biggest problems in the world aren't caused by bad people, but by people who are absolutely certain that they're right? Everyone wants simple answers, but the real world isn't simple. We've been taught to see the world only in black and white. So I'm here to challenge you to venture into the gray. So welcome to the Gray Area series, a space between the black and white in a world that pushes everything to extremes. We explore the conversations that live in the middle, the complicated ones, the uncomfortable ones, the human ones. Because the truth is, most things aren't black and white, they're gray. So today, let's get started. So, okay, are we ready?
Yes.
Probably.
Probably. Well, first, I want to thank you all for being here to have this conversation. I think that the Gray Area series coming back is so important right now because the world we live in right now, it is very divisive and it is very, in my opinion, extreme on one end or the other. And I think that it's important for us to sometimes remind ourselves of that gray area. And some things for some people may not have a gray area, and I totally understand that. But I also think there's some nuances to a lot of stuff that we're experiencing in the world, and it's good for us to create spaces to talk about it. So we're going to start off with Don Lemon arrest and freedom of the press. So just a little backstory. This conversation was prompted because I made a comment about Don Lemon's arrest. And my comment was that I did not feel that it was proper for anyone to go into someone's religious space to disrupt. I really don't care what the reason is, in my opinion. And I think a lot of that came too because right before that happened, some months prior, we had a lot of people that were also disturbing other religious spaces that were not Christian. People that were praying or people that were in the temple, they were disturbing that from a different side. And then when the event happened with Don Lemon, it was the pastor of the church. I believe it was the pastor. They believed it was an ICE agent, and people were upset about that. They found out about it, and they came in and stormed the church and did that. So my thing was, I don't know. I didn't think that was right. So you all tell me what you think about that, because.
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Please.
So no, I commented. This is how I ended up in this forum because I commented on that particular situation. So touching on the areas of gray a little bit there too. Two things. One, I don't think you should be going into someone's religious space to disrupt for any reason or any particular religion. I think some things, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And then same thing with Don Lemon following them in. I'm like, I don't know what news you hoped to get out of that. But again, I'm like, I think just in poor taste. I think it is where I stand with that. So I agreed with that. And then I think on that, when you invited me from what I commented on there, I think we're in a very divisive world right now. And I've been saying for a long time, people that know me really well probably heard me say this a million times. I think we have a lot of people around that would rather be right than get it right. And they just don't listen to each other. And so, same thing. I don't, even if, regardless of the religion, regardless of whether you agree with what ICE was doing, that was in a church. It wasn't, I think it was just not an appropriate place to do that.
But is that arrestable?
I don't know. Yeah,
Right? It can be in poor taste, and
That's
we can
fair.
say that you ought not to do that, but it's not a crime.
I didn't think it was arrestable either. No, I didn't
Right?
agree with that part.
So that's whether he should or shouldn't is one question. Should he be arrested? No.
Yeah.
Well, and the disruptor got arrested too, right? I think the people that went in and disrupted also were arrested.
You know what? I don't
There
know,
were
honestly.
multiple
Were they-
people. I
okay.
think there was more than one independent journalist, not just Don Lemon.
Okay.
I think it
and
would be
feel-
arrestable if it was like trespassing, right? I mean, if it went that far, if they were trespassed.
Yeah. This is the gray area, the gray space,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, yeah.
I feel like protests should be disruptive or else it's not effective. But I'm not 100% convinced that they should have gone into a place of worship. I don't think that any journalist should have been arrested.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the freedom to practice our religion, but then we also have the freedom to protest. And I do think it should be disruptive because that's how changes are made.
Sure.
I don't think Don Lemon should have been arrested or any other independent journalist.
Yeah.
And when you watch the video, you could see the protesters were definitely in the service,
They were,
and they
yeah.
were interacting with the congregants a lot more, whereas Don Lemon was kind of off
he
to the
was just
side.
recording, right?
He was, and I think,
It did seem targeted.
and if I recall correctly, I think somebody like fell in front of him. He helped them up.
I don't know.
It was something like that, and he just seemed to be respectfully observing and asking a few questions. So no, I don't agree with that.
So let's pivot a little bit, but stay on that in that direction. You know, there's a lot of talk right now about the freedom of the press, right? I mean, I think that right now we are seeing in real time some of that being restricted. It's been a lot going on with the press, and so tell me your thoughts about that with what's going on. Yeah, tell me, Matthew. That's right, Matt. Tell me.
I want to let other people speak. I want other people to speak.
No,
So
I
I know what I think. I know what I think. I want to know what other people think. No, so when the Pentagon said that they were basically going to completely restrict what you could publish
Right, who
coming
could
out
be
of it,
there,
right? The
right,
news,
yeah,
right? And
right.
the things that you're allowed to publish are only authorized by the Pentagon.
Correct.
Had to go through there, right? They said, and right, that's not correct. But that week, right, I took out my pocket Constitution in my lecture and I put it up on the projector and I said, this is a general education class. This is part of general education. Let's read this First Amendment to the Constitution. And let's say, what do each of these clauses mean? And this one where it says that restricting the press, you're not allowed to do that. That means you're not allowed to say you can only print these things. And you're not allowed to say you cannot print this information that you have. You know, you can choose not to do it, but the government cannot force you to do that. And that's what the government is doing, right? So that is our elected officials violating their oath to the Constitution.
Yes. Anybody else want to add anything
My
to that?
thing is, where would it stop? If you do it with the press, what are you going to do it where next?
Right.
I mean, because I know they're already trying to do it in education, correct? They're
Oh,
trying
yeah,
to
for sure.
say,
Well, education's been under
absolutely.
attack,
yes, like
for a while.
what you can
Yeah.
teach and what you cannot, and how is that right? Because then you're only teaching from your perspective, you're not teaching the truth. So that's the same thing with the press, you know, because, and to me, that's a dictator. I'm just being honest, because you're saying you only can print what I want. You can only show me in a good light and what I like. So no, I don't think that's right.
I guess my question with that is the people that are in favor and supporting it right now are the very people who, I mean, talk about free speech all the time, like being free and having this
they're
freedom.
restricting it, but saying free speech, but only if it's our free speech, right?
Yes, and so, and you know, and quite honestly, I've seen it on both sides, this whole idea that what I say is right and I should, but I just find it very interesting that it is okay now because it paints a certain viewpoint in a certain light. And I don't believe in restricting speech. I don't believe in that, even people that I don't necessarily agree with. I just don't believe that, because for me, that's a slippery slope for me. Like, because I'm a firm believer that once you restrict one person, your day could come too. And so I don't believe
Yeah,
that.
it kind of moves into the next, like down one of the topics we're going to link into. But I believe in, there used to be a thing called the fairness doctrine, right? They got rid of that a long time ago. And what it's equal time, basically, right? So when the news was just the news once upon a time and it was an opinion, they had to provide equal minutes for both sides of the opinion, or both sides of the aisle for the political stuff. And I really miss that, because now you have targeted news, if you want to call it news, you have podcasts, you have all this other stuff. But I do miss you not restricting speech, but at least allow both sides, I think, is the way it happens. Because when you stop allowing one side, you're restricting your audience a little bit, because everyone will gravitate toward a particular area. So not that I want to limit speech, but I think that the journalism thing, like, they need to hold themselves to a higher standard than what I currently see. And I'm not going to try to label any particular group.
Yeah.
I have one in mind, but I'm going to try to label it. But you have to tell the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the big. That's what I look for from reporters, news. I want the truth. I don't want an opinion.
I think we're
of what
past
they
the
say.
truth.
I
I think
agree.
we're in a warm and fuzzy type of world when it effectively makes a certain group feel good. it's scary that this is what they're trying to do, and people do not check them because they're afraid. I have a problem when you sit in a space and you know something's wrong and you don't speak out. And if you do not speak out because of fear, because of somebody taking your job, someone taking your position, then where are we? Where are we as a world?
You don't have freedom of speech.
You have
if
none.
you're
And
scared.
then
Yeah.
how far are we going to allow this to go? 10 years from now, how are we going to explain to our children the structured change that has happened over the past 15, 16 years? Unfortunately, I don't think it's ever going to go back. We live in such an incredible time. I'm 46 years old. I've never, ever seen anything like this before. And the reason why people are so angry because people are going unchecked. If you have a checks and balance system, then that will be okay. But we're in a space now where it's not. Yeah, it's just not happening. So it's fearful. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I mean, I am a huge proponent for freedom of press. And on Don Lemon, no, he should. I kind of believe church is church. Just be respectful. Yeah. If you're going to go in, watch. No, I don't think he should have been arrested, though.
And the question too is, I know some people said that because he and others are journalists, that they should have been allowed in because there was a protest inside there. And in my opinion, I don't think the protest should have ever happened inside.
Was it church service?
They protested in the church.
They stormed in my opinion. Yes, please.
Suppose this ICE agent worked at Applebee's as a host, and people went in and protested. Would you be upset about that?
Not necessarily.
Why? I mean, they were going into the ICE agent's place of work to protest the ICE agent's actions as an ICE agent.
I mean, I probably would be. I mean, to be honest, but like you asked earlier, was arrestable? It's like there's a trespass thing, potentially.
And you have to be told that you need to.
You have to be told exactly.
Yeah. Trespassing.
Right.
I think places of worship to me is just, I don't know, and I don't even know if I'm an overly religious person, but I just think that, I don't know, the way I was raised, and I'll take it back there. The way I was raised was that there were some places that just had some type of respect that you should respect, and for me, I just don't think disrupting a church service where someone, and if you don't believe in that God or you don't believe, like, that's fine. But if people are in that space doing their worship, I just don't think that, just like I don't think people should go into a temple, I don't think people should go into a mosque.
Outside is okay, maybe.
Yeah, and people protest outside of churches all the time.
Yeah,
but
all
I don't
the
know,
time.
storming in, I don't agree
Is
with
that
it.
fair for the people that are in the church, though,
No.
too? That's what because
Yeah.
we're
Nor
doing
would
a
it be
lot
fair at
that's-
Applebee's when I'm trying to enjoy my dinner.
Yeah,
to be
Right,
honest.
right, which is true.
Would
Which is like your
would
original
people be
question.
upset about that?
I think people would be.
I think some would, but I don't know that everyone would. And I think that there would be people who would be far more comfortable with that than they would be with it.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Could we go back to the fairness doctrine? Is that the justification that was used to pull James Tallarico's interview off of Stephen Colbert's Late Show? Is that what the FCC said, or was it a
The fairness
different?
doctrine was from the 80s, Ronald Reagan.
Right, but I think that they're trying to use that.
But they were
as,
trying to make that statement that,
right.
yeah.
So I was just curious if that was the
They brought it up, but they, certainly no one's tried to reintroduce it and get it passed back into law.
Right. And those are the things that have alarmed me the most about freedom of press is the CCOT episode that was pulled from 60 Minutes, firing Jimmy Kimmel, but then, he's back, canceling the Colbert Show, pulling the James Tallarico interview from the Colbert Show. Like all of
Because elected
those
officials
are
now
just, right.
influencing
Yep.
media.
And then
Well,
on
the
top of that,
FCC.
we have Larry Ellison, who owns a
There you
list
go.
this long. He owns TikTok. He owns CNN.
He'll own Paramount now that Google back out.
how free is our press
It won't be.
if one billionaire family controls
been like this for a long
social
time.
media, news? You know what I mean? I
I
don't.
mean, it's been like that that's the thing, is that people have this illusion of, I don't want to go down this rap. I don't want to go
You're
down
going to go down it. Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Rob Hills. But I mean, I think that
This is the great one,
I know. This is I just think that we have just been, we believe in this freedom that is sometimes an illusion, right? It's really not what it is. I mean, because I always tell people, even with the boycotting things, right? I know people boycott all the time, and they pick a new place to boycott, and I have no problem people boycotting. What I always say though to myself is that if people knew how these companies were actually who ran them, who owned them, and how just because they have one name over here and over here, you think it's two different entities, but really it's owned by the same people. And it's these like three families that own all of them. it's like you just don't go outside. Like don't do
going down a
things.
rabbit
Don't.
hole.
I mean
Okay.
seriously, because you can't escape.
Do it.
Do you feel like it's getting more
I mean you can't escape. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Do you feel like things are getting more concentrated in the hands of fewer people?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I mean, maybe it wasn't as free as we
I think,
think
it's
it
kind of
should
always
be.
been
It's
like
getting
that.
worse.
But
I
is
think
it,
people are paying
you know-
more attention and people
think
are
it's just
having
people paying more
conversations.
attention.
Because literally, it's all. We're in we have YouTubers now. So, and we're gonna talk about that in a minute too. But we have podcasters. We're here. We have.
We're on YouTube. Oh my goodness, we are part of the
So
show.
I listen to podcasts. I listen to YouTubes when I drive. I also listen to media on television. I try to listen to a little bit of everything because I want to see different sides. The media that's structured, Paramount, all that, that's a different lane than what the YouTube generation has now. I follow a very young person. I think he's 23, 24 years old on YouTube. He's one of my favorite, I'm not doing any specific shout outs, but he's one of my favorite people because they're able to dissect what they have and give information that is not tainted yet. But this world has been the way it is forever. Everyone's now, because people are upset, so now they're like, let me see what's really going on. Let's dig a little deeper.
Well, and we can because we have
And we have our phones.
access to the world on our phones. You know?
And and I don't want to
Go ahead,
let
Erin.
too much out the bag, but I mean, I have been called a conspiracy theorist, right? I know that. But it's really interesting now because I've really wanted to. I mean, it has taken so much for me not to put up. I told you, like literally. I mean, 20 years ago, a lot of this that's happening right now has been talked about. People could not fathom the United States looking how it looks right now, and here we are. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes,
Well,
yes.
remember in the movie Good Morning Vietnam, when he was at he was at that bombing.
Yep.
And when he went back
Right.
to report it, they cut off his mic because he was going to tell the truth. So they were already telling us what they were doing.
And I think we just saw how it appears that the United States is responsible for striking the Iranian school and killing 180 some children or people, right? Children and school staff. But I think how many other, honestly, war crimes just weren't reported on because we didn't see it? Like how horrible were things in Vietnam?
So many.
We saw some pictures, we saw some images. There's some really famous ones out there, but
And some
what
things
else happened that we don't know about because nobody was there with a phone to film it?
Well, and then some things were told it happened later, right? They made like whole documentaries saying, "Oh, by the way, we lied to you about that. This is what really happened." And so, yes.
I had to laugh because my undershirt, right?
Everything was like, because when you don't know how anything works. Exactly.
I like that.
Exactly. We need to
This
get
is a
that.
gift from my wife.
Oh, is it? Oh, James will take a picture of it. Let him take a picture of it. No,
And I'm just going back to what is that movie where he was like, you can't handle the truth?
Few
Yeah.
Few good men. I mean, good God, yes, you can't. Like, I think people are gonna, everything is right in front of you.
Yeah.
Everything is right in front of you. And it's to the point now that I own a business, so therefore I have to watch. Like, this is, I don't care about this, but I have
Well,
so
you care
many.
about the Breaking Bad Village. just like- I'm kidding.
That's why I'm doing
No,
this.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But I have to be very careful, and I have a very slippery slope that I'm on because I can't say everything I want to say because of my business. But what I've done, I think we spoke about this earlier when we said family members, we'll get on that topic, and people around us, I just don't know how not to be myself anymore. So I don't choose to put certain things on social media, but when you come in my space that is private, I own this, I can say whatever I want to say.
But even in
And-
that, don't you have to be careful because so many people are so quick to pull out
I
a
could
phone?
care
and-
less. I could
Okay.
care less. This is my business. I say exactly what I want. You know who I am. If you don't want to follow me, you don't want to patronize me, feel free. You don't have to. I think that we are too silent sometimes. And I've had a situation with someone who controlled my social media. And I know she's gonna watch this, so I gotta say it. And she kept telling me, you have a platform. You need to use your platform to say what you feel. I know how you are, Lisa, but you're very quiet. And I told her, I said, I can't do that. I built this business within the past 9 years. I'm successful. She said, but you should. And I kept telling her I'm not gonna do it. And now, do I regret not doing it? No. But the way I'm doing it now is directly affecting the 1,000 people that walk in my door every 3 months. I can only play my part, but I have to play my part. I feel compelled to play my part now. And if I don't, I'm going to be one of those ones who are complacently silent. And I cannot be like that. Whatever it's going to do, it might hurt my business, but at the end of the day, it might offer me other opportunities or other people to feel more comfortable and speak out.
Listen,
and if they
I'm
don't,
a teacher,
Okay.
so I'm like, I had that feeling at first because we were really told in college, like, you can't share your opinion whatsoever. It would be the end of the world if you did. And I'm very opinionated. And so I would share occasionally, and then just as the years have gone on, I'm like, that's out the window. Like, if somebody's mad about it, I'm not representing my employer while I'm saying what I have to say. But yeah, it's definitely
Teachers have been losing their jobs because of that.
I was just going to ask these two, like, how is that working out with you both being educators and they're trying to stop your freedom of speech?
I think that is just performative. I think that those executive orders were performative for the people who wanted to hear it. You know, DEI is gone in classrooms now, so that's great. Well, how do you enforce that? How many classrooms are there across the country? And also, you know, the whole DEI of it, that means like something completely different. I feel like it's been redefined. But
That's exactly as it's spelled on the executive order.
yeah, I mean,
Did you see the clip?
That's my favorite.
No, did you see that clip of the what is it, Doge?
Doge.
oh yeah, yes. Oh my gosh, I've watched it like 3 times. And
I watched it on mute, and I'm like, this is painful to listen to when there's no sound coming out of it.
But I don't feel, I feel this is, I teach in Bay City. The east side of Bay City and the west side of Bay City are different. I moved to the west side, to a school on the west side where there's more affluent families. It's in the county, more conservative families. And I always teach my World Changer unit during Black History Month. So we focus on every week a Black historical figure. And I have thought, like, what if parents aren't okay with this? But no, this is our history. Why wouldn't they be okay with it? But I'm sure some might have a thought that there's something indoctrination going on, you know, and I'm like, no, I would actually just like to celebrate this person. And I think it's
I've
good
always had a hard
for
time
children
with
to
that
learn
because,
about
like,
this person.
You're like literally just teaching what actually happened.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what baffles me a little
right.
bit. Is like, you can't change what happened.
Yeah.
We know what
People
happened.
want to change what happened because it makes them feel uncomfortable. And
Yeah, well,
as we all know, that they want to remove anything. When I'm
And they have.
speaking
Yeah,
of
they
the
have
government,
removed, yeah.
not people in general,
Yeah.
but they want to remove anything that makes certain people look bad. But
Yeah.
like you said, it's history.
It's
We
history.
can't go back. We weren't here then. But I am a product of history.
Right.
So therefore, we should tell it, because once you do not share history, it's all language. And we can only do oral. And that's what happened to a lot of cultures and societies, that you put everything down. You can't live in a whole world when you don't know people's past. I love being in a room with people with all different types of cultures and backgrounds, because how else am I going to learn?
Exactly.
How else
Right.
are we going to be human? And shout out to you for going in there and doing that. You have to. These people aren't going to be happy, but it's like, why? Why
Do
have such
you
an
all
issue?
think at any time that DEI went too far?
I don't think people know what it is.
Yeah, what do you mean by
yes,
that?
that has been a pet peeve of mine.
It's my pet peeve. So
redefining
I've been
what
a
it
human
is.
resources person for over 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it didn't used to be called DEI. It used to be
Right.
called equal opportunity. But
Yeah.
I don't think people really know what it is. And at the crux of it, like where they come at me, is like it's like hiring, right? It's just outreach. That's it. You still hire the best person. You just want to make
But
sure.
do that.
But did that always happen?
I think for the most
Okay.
part it does. I think for the most part employers are hiring the best people they can hire.
And hiring
I don't
quotas
think
have
so.
been illegal since the 1970s.
Forever. Yeah, they'll be illegal pretty much the
You
entire
know,
time.
Right.
I think the argument sometimes is that people were at one point in time being hired to say they are
Diverse.
yes. And so a lot of times when we look at DEI, people will look at it as what they visibly could see, right? So it's like we want to have a black person, want to have somebody maybe like in
Yeah.
a wheelchair, want to have,
Yeah.
like, so they have these optics, right? And so the argument was that some people were being put into certain positions to fill an optic and not necessarily the most qualified. And the only reason why I asked that is because I asked a question one time about, well, I made a statement that do we think that where we're at right now is a part of a kind of cause and effect, right? When, how do I want to say it? the left was a little bit more in power, right? There was a lot of push for different visuals, right? And so it's this idea that this pendulum swung the other way because now we have the right in power, and so now they're going the extreme on the other end. And so that's where the question comes from. Do we think that we go too far? Not even in a bad, I don't want to make that seem like a bad, good thing, but just do we,
I think
I
there's
don't know how to
clearly
say that.
people that think we've gone too far, but and I know related to some of them. I work in the industry I work in, I mean, my profession that I work in, but by and large, the people that I know that think that we've gone too far don't know what DEI actually is, right? They're just making assumptions based on what they've heard or what they've witnessed with their own eyes, but that's just not the case. I mean, I'm in HR networks and things like, invariably, you try to hire the best person. Now, you might have trouble recruiting certain, I've been hiring
Demographics.
engineers most of my life. It's hard to get a female engineer just because there's not that many applicants, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so what you're required to do is outreach. Go find them. Join Society for Women Engineers or whatever. But you still,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you hire the best person.
Well, for me, DEI is don't hire me just because I'm black.
Yeah, okay.
Hire me on my qualifications.
Yeah, you hire the qualified people, yeah.
And that's the only problem I have with it. Like, don't do it just because I'm black, because I bring so much more to the table. Not just because I'm black,
No, I think it's important to, companies are more successful when they have diversity of thought. And so when I'm thinking about diversity, when we talk about diversity in businesses, it's not, everyone assumes it's like the DEI stuff, but for what we're trying to do is you need diversity of thought.
yeah,
Right.
exactly, yeah.
Because you can't all think the
Right.
same way
Right.
and be successful. Because then you have groupthink, and then you're not being innovative. You're not solving problems. There's many financial models that say you diversify businesses are better functioning than not.
Sure, of course,
Right.
yeah.
And in my profession, it's just so, it means something completely different. Diversity, we're celebrating all students,
Yeah.
right? Equity, we're making sure that barriers to the opportunity to be educated
Right.
are diminished. So if a child needs a wheelchair ramp, if they need glasses, if they need special education
A Chromebook.
services, that's equity,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And then the inclusion is we're not going to exclude you because you're different. We're not
Right.
going to exclude you because you can't access this space.
Right.
So it means something completely different in my line of work. So when they say no DEI in school, I'm like, okay, well, are we going to take away special education? What do you mean by
Well,
that?
yeah, yeah,
Are we not
they-
going to
they
read
do.
books with characters who are different ethnicities?
Right.
I think that's what it
Yeah.
has meant that, right?
That is-
Because that's
that's
what
what some
Moms
people
for
wanted,
Liberty and
yeah.
all that other
That's-
stuff, right?
Yeah, I was thinking along those same lines. I think it means something different in education than it does but I don't know because I'm only in education,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
In private sector, especially the business that I strive to have people represented in all different facets in my business.
Yeah.
Everywhere, because that makes me more successful. It makes everyone feel welcome. And sometimes you do feel more comfortable in spaces where people look like yourself. But in my business, I cater to everyone. So therefore, I have to represent everyone. I would never have something that only represented people
Yeah.
that look like me. That's
'Cause it-
ridiculous.
Well, it limits your business on
does,
everything,
right.
even if you're completely crass about it.
Yeah,
It's not
absolutely.
benefit you. in
It
some
does
way.
not
But the
benefit
thing
you.
is some people believe that you should, and that's the challenge. Some people think that you should.
And guess what? They're not wrong. You can feel however you want to feel about your
Yeah.
business, but for me and who I serve is the public and people.
Right.
So we are all people. So I'm going to always serve humans. And because that, I need to represent all types of humans, if I can do that. And I'm talking bare minimum, everybody, LGBTQ, Latino, white Americans, every single person, and myself being the owner as being a Black American.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Again, people have the right as a business owner, but to me, when we demand everybody else, because they do want to demand that you just cater to a
I've
certain
had people
people.
ask me that before.
Oh yeah. Well, people ask me that all the time, like, why don't you go more in these spaces or these spaces? And I try to, in the best way possible, tell them, I go where I'm invited, I go where I'm welcomed, I go where I'm loved, I go where it's a give and take here thing, you know what I mean? And so this natural law of attraction, like I'm not going to force myself into spaces. So, but people do want to try to dictate.
box.
Yeah, put you in a box, and that's not what I believe. So.